today, y'all, at least in my experience, I think for me it was a very psychologically tough chapter. But I think that what I've done here is done successfully, despite a lot of initial awkwardness and a lot of stuff that's been going on within my life. So here's my layout of the day. So we'll jump straight into it. I hurried up for today, right in the morning. So I prepared the birds. I prepared the food for the fish. I prepared the food for the dogs. I prepared everything. Even prepared my breakfast for myself. And I did stuff I need to do. And as much as it was raining, I wasn't able to enjoy breakfast like you usually do. But it was filling, and I think I found it pretty nice. And once I got to school, I conducted my first field test. I conducted my very first character test of the year. This time there's like one senior and one freshman. And to be fair, it went really awkward. Lots of pauses and a lot of phone taking. Even then, my pants got wet since the benches were wet. And I was able to hit a short-term conversation, but it wasn't exactly sound, if you guys think of it that way. But it's good though for me because we did set up that future momentum to eventually talk to others later in the day. But eventually, though, once the bell rang, it was mostly awkward. They were on their phones. They weren't really reciprocating back, and that's perfectly fine. People just coming back from break. So credits if you guys somehow found this video. I don't know how because I never shared like my Instagram. You guys don't share Instagram either, but and credits if you are, that being like 30 years from now, 40 years from now, or like 15 years from now. I don't know. But credits to you. I wouldn't call this a failure since you guys didn't really talk back, but what I see here is my intent. And in the field test for that, I passed it, so I'm kind of proud of that. And it also built a little bit of momentum for the day, and that's good for me. And first period class, not much has really changed except, the teacher. But the thing is, though, is that they made participation into groups instead of singular people, so you get like four people instead of like a singular desk. So gotta pick a few seats wisely. And I'm in one where three boys are present. I wanted to go to one where it had like a few others present, and that I wanted to talk to, but I had decision fatigue, so I chose a near so it wasn't really a good idea. The class was neutral, so it was kind of like a light start to the day. Is later on, you guys know that I'm taking care of like a house of 10 chickens, 4 pets, 4 birds, and a pond of fish. And something that I ended up forgetting to do ticked up on my notifications. I forgot to check the dang chicken coop this morning, so I opened it later on as I was in school, and I wasn't paying attention to the chicken coop since I was busy doing like all the other things, and definitely I admit that mistake. And well, one out of the 12 chickens, were unalived. All right, since I can't really say that. And a lot may think that a lot was suspicion on me and guilt onto me, and I would see why. I'm juggling a lot of stuff at once, so here's my reasoning. The thing is, though, is that yes, I did feed the chickens. I did feed them. I did feed the chickens and even giving them all of the proper things, necessitating them all the proper foods. And the backyard that I argue is that it's way too small to house them in the first place. My mom, as emotional as she is, she calls me out and apparently says that I killed the chicken, which isn't even a sound argument in the first place. When structurally, this backyard is way too small to even host 10 chickens, especially with a giant koi pond that a chicken might end up jumping into. And the thing is, though, is that as much as I do feed them, as much as I do all of the proper do work, behaviors, especially in a small place in a caged chicken coop, like you may not be able to control any of that. And once it happens, it becomes a frenzy. And as much as I can provide full feed and full water, I can't control unpredictable behavior. Like the chicken might eventually end up unaliving themselves as some sort of frenzy because I can't control those frenzies. As much as I do feed them, as much as all the things I do, I can't control stuff like that. And the issue is that my parents will end up scapegoating me as the main source of the problem without looking at other sides of it. The conditioning socially made it that way when they were younger. So as emotionally convincing as it is, correlation doesn't equal causation. And just because a chicken died and I was a local caretaker doesn't make me instantly guilty. With overcrowding 10 chickens, really small backyard. Well, it is large in terms of surface area, but if you look at it, there's like a lot of bridges, there's a lot of uneven walls. With overcrowding, 10 chickens, a large pond, a lot of things to do, of course they're going to consume food and water very, very fast. Faster than a black hole's accretion rate for my science fans out there. Think of a whirlpool for the ones who don't get it. And with eating stuff that fast, like something's going to happen. Something's going to, even if I end up like giving more and more food, it's just going to consume really fast. And the issue with that is that they'll end up, frenzying on each other. Yeah, if you guys take my drift on that. I'd argue that my parents allowing the chickens to be there in that constrained environment is what allowed the conditions for this to happen. I did my job properly. Fed the chickens, gave them the water, but bad things still happen anyway. Even today, I still forgot to look at them this morning since I was in such a hurry. But yesterday, I did my job. I did what I had to do, feed them the water. And, bad things still happened anyway. What can I do about them, to be honest? I'll make a separate video of this because my parents had to butcher the truth a lot. I know they prefer to blame, so I'll continue that segment in another video. But the issue with this situation is that psychologically, despite the sound, logic, and counter reasoning, that moved directly to my next period class. It was free time due to class shuffling, but I wanted to interact with new people and, of course, meet my other friend. The issue is that despite the teachers of the other class letting me interact with the other sides, other classes too, I was kind of scanning around looking for my friend within this large, this was kind of like a gym area, so there was like multiple people all at once. The reason that it felt so hard is that obviously as I was scanning my environment looking for one of my friends, I do have that feeling of being watched, and that kind of hit me right there. But the issue with that is that the backdrop of psychologically everything else I just was told this morning, like it was like, dang it, bro, like my parents are actually gonna get at me this time. Like they're not gonna admit, since of their social conditioning, they're not gonna admit the correct things. That kind of pulled my social front really, really, really down. But I fought through it, and eventually I was able to hit a direct three-way conversation since one of my friends weren't here, with two girls this time. You guys were chill, so sorry, Giselle, if I called you slender like that. I didn't mean to disrespect you in that manner. But the conversation this time was great. Not getting into specifics this time, since I don't know if you guys are like giving full-on lies or full-on truths or half truths. But the school fights you guys said and we talked about, really interesting, especially with your guys' saying of you guys were held back for like 4 years straight, and apparently you're graduating as freshmen to a senior class. I don't know about that, but skipping the specifics, it went great. It went smooth, and I hope you guys, congratulations, class of 2026. It's all I can give y'all. So good luck, y'all, on your life goals. But if I was to call this a field test now, I'd call this absolutely successful. We fought through one of the psychological things in my life, and intent was mattered, and I wanted to find a friend, but since I didn't, I just randomized interactions anyway. So that's good job on me for that one. Next period, not too much happened. New seeing charts they announced, but we did a simple graphing assignment. And people kind of rekindled with each other after break. But my next period again, mid one before lunch, we did some stuff as we usually do, regular pre-assignments before I actually start up a new unit of notes for this given topic. And smooth as always. Credit to my partner, credit to the teacher for being a chill person. You guys may never view this video unless it's in like 4 years from now. Especially big credit to the other friend group that I viewed this morning right before first period. You guys might view this when you become adults, so credits to you. So I definitely owe that. But smooth as always. We're gonna move down to lunch period. As much as I never talk about this one, it went fine. I talked with another friend group that I was able to hit short-term gains, short-term conversational roles here, and taking up light topics. I'm not sure if I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow or next time because I don't know if you guys rotate or not. Because I'm not sure. Some friend groups don't work on explicitity, so I don't really have a direct communication line. Well, I do have, but a lot of you guys are busy with life, so I'm not sure about you guys. But regarding me, the fear again is broken since we were able to talk to them. We were able to hit new heights, especially in talking light. So big credit if you guys are watching this one. I'm definitely leaving that out there. But asked one of your guys' friends for your Instagram, but they didn't say for it. They didn't really use it too much. So I was like, yeah, okay, sure. Now, next period, y'all, is definitely one thing for future. Now, one of the teachers there is the leader of Jesus Club. They're one of the co-leaders, executives, think of it that way. And I wanted to go into this club since, I wasn't able to go into many clubs last year. I was wanting to go here, but I'm going to derive a new word. So apparently it's called, quote-unquote, foyer. It's apparently some sort of entrance line before entering some sort of building. And the best part about this is that there isn't no application for this. I mean, this is Jesus Club, and she's one of the execs for it. So I'm not even sure if you call it executives, but apparently just enter do this way every X day, given almost every week instead of like bi-weekly. It's like every week, this day, go ahead and head in there, see what's going on. And great job. I've already set that up for the future. They told me all about it, and I've set up like a new vocabulary word, like foyer, new place or entrance before entering an actual building. So that's some new information for me. I might plan on joining that later on next week or weeks going forward because I need some club activities. We need to actually find stability and find some peripheral friend groups if we don't find one within the ways we're looking for. Now, for my final period, my teacher last year got switched out due to admins not wanting the class for his last period. So for any people within the school curious, I'm in Sai's class or Mr. Sai's class. Obviously I can't reveal the full name to protect their integrity. And they're kind of the direct opposite between my math teacher last year. My math teacher last year was more of like a DIY, like here's a lesson, here's 15 minutes, and then here's 45 minutes of the rest of it. All yours. Like you can use it on your phone, you can do this or that, and there's a lot of students have failed, and like I can see why, but I passed the class. And I already moved on to like, well, I'm not even sure if I could say I've moved on because it's just like a mid-year transition to like a different class, but the same, same course to be honest. But the teacher now, they're more of the same, but they're kind of different because they're more structured this time. Like they do give like half this time for teaching, then half the other time for doing that. But she's more structured. She does use a school sanctioned math books. She does use works, and you do upload everything online, unlike my other teacher. So that's definitely out there. I again asked another local person for their Instagram. They said they don't use it, so it's fine for me again. The philosophy that I extract from this teacher is that just do your work, even if it's for the bare minimum, so you don't got to deal with this class next year. And that teacher, I hope they're chill coming the days forward, but it's kind of like a mid-year transition. So it's kind of that. They're one of the also AP teachers, so I'm kind of getting like an AP teacher for a regular class here, so I'll be with that for the rest of the year. So this class here, it's like kind of odd if you guys look at it within the AP sense. Like they teach AP, but we're just in for a regular course. So like you're dealing with someone who has the AP attitude, but you're also dealing with someone like we're here to teach you how to do this, how to do that on your grade level. Right, so simply higher level applied to a little bit of some lower stakes. So they're kind of chill on that one. That's the one small thing. After that online math tool that she uses, after dismissal, I went to the library to finish up the assignment. When I used it, some sort of error occurred on the interface. So apparently I can't use it because they haven't set up the Canvas thing. I'm not sure how that stuff works, but I wasn't able to set up anything. So that kind of sucks on that matter. So I'll finish it tomorrow, since I might not have as much time today. And so I'll spend my time on something else, which is something like this. So it was kind of chill. So it was great. But within that time frame, though, is that I was talking to another person. This time they were also another senior. We talked for a little bit, and it was kind of chill too. We really did hit off a good conversation here. But emotionally, I spot one thing against similar. They do not have an established friend group. They have multiple friend groups all the way throughout. It's usually fragmented, at least what they say it to be. And they have their groups everywhere, but it's not one place. But retroactively speaking, if you guys have seen my old reels, it confirms my theory once again. My source of continuity is single thread based friend groups. Their source of continuity is multiple threads. It's not bad or good, just different operating systems. Like you need some sort of dependency file in order to actually merge both of these together. So retroactively proven. So we're leaving that out there. I know because of that psychological day, it was pretty much tough. All right. Overall, today is that no friend group yet. At least it still remains undecided. I'm working to that goal by interacting with new people and doing new things I've done before, joining new clubs. As I said before, 80% expansion, 20% stability and emotion. So, but emotionally speaking, I have no idea how I survived. That thought of my parents and them scapegoating me for a dead chicken loomed over me all day. It reduced a lot of my socialness, but now push through it. That's what matters. I didn't know that this today would be like this. So, I mean, we start this year. This year, on a crazy start emotionally, even though nothing on the outside kind of remained the same. But as I'm seeing here, though, I do, since my parents are increasingly getting more complex, yo, like since my environment around me is increasingly getting much, much more complex, the need for a friend group for me, yo, is already pushing out really fast. Like we do have to find a friend group. Like we gotta find one, even if it's one that we may not be for a long time. Like we still need that basic social emotional warmth to be able to counter the environment that I am, other places too. I'm also pushing for expansion elsewhere, also located in the library that I want to go to, for example. But that's the thing right there. That's what matters. We did push through this day, but it was just kind of like tough emotionally. I did definitely take a big, big rest before I made this video.